You feel it, don't you? That invisible friction. The sense that you're moving through life with the brakes on. You have these moments of incredible clarity, of power, of deep connection, and then, just as quickly, the static returns. That ceiling on your potential feels solid again. The feeling of a pre-written fate, one you didn't choose, settles back in. If you've ever felt this, you need to know it is not just in your head. What you're feeling is real. It's an ancient psychological malware that a group of mystical seekers, the Gnostics, identified with stunning clarity almost 2 millennia ago. They called them the Archons. And understanding their code isn't just a history lesson. It is the key to finally uninstalling it and reclaiming the inner architecture of your own destiny. Let's sit with that feeling of friction for a moment. It's that quiet anxiety humming under the surface on a perfectly good day. It's the self-sabotaging impulse that kicks in right when you're about to succeed. It's that profound sense of spiritual amnesia. The feeling you've forgotten something of cosmic importance, but you can't for the life of you remember what. Conventionally, we call this anxiety, neurosis, or just a lack of discipline. We internalize it as a personal failure. We think, I'm just not trying hard enough, or something is wrong with me. The Gnostics, spiritual explorers who emerged in the early centuries AD, offered a radical reframe. They journeyed into the deepest layers of consciousness and came back with a wild proposition. This feeling of being trapped isn't a bug in your system. It's the primary feature of the reality we inhabit. They saw the material world not as a school for the soul, but as a sophisticated prison designed to keep us ignorant of our true divine origins. Their cosmology, pieced together from texts like those in the Nag Hammadi library, tells of a cosmic error. It begins not with a perfect creation, but a flawed one. An entity they called the Demiurge, or Yaldabaoth, fashioned our material universe. But this creator was not the ultimate, transcendent God. He was a lesser being, an imperfect entity ignorant of the true spiritual reality, the pleroma or fullness from which he had fallen. Psychologically, the Demiurge is the perfect symbol for the inflated ego, the part of us that believes it's the master of the house, completely unaware of the vast, unconscious depths from which it arose. Blinded by his own power, the Demiurge mistakenly believed he was the one and only God. To manage his flawed creation, he created a host of servants. The Gnostics called them the Archons, or the rulers. But these weren't political rulers, they were cosmic wardens. Their job is to manage the prison, enforcing the laws of their creator and ensuring the souls trapped within this system remain distracted, asleep, and forgetful of the divine spark they carry. So, how does this cosmic control system work? The Gnostics described a universe of concentric spheres, like layers of an onion with Earth at the centre. While details vary between different Gnostic texts, a powerful interpretation envisions each sphere as being ruled by an archon, symbolically associated with one of the 7 classical planets. This isn't just mythology. It's a breathtakingly precise map of the psychological traps that bind human consciousness. Let's decode this ancient malware, one layer at a time. The outermost sphere is symbolically tied to Saturn. This is the archon of perceived limitations, of fear and of binding time. It's that inner voice whispering, it's too late, you've made too many mistakes, or you're bound by your past. It's the feeling of stagnation, the belief in an unchangeable fate that keeps you running on a hamster wheel. Next is Jupiter, representing false authority. This is the program of dogma and rigid belief systems. It's the voice that demands you obey external rules over your own inner knowing. It creates the impulse to conform, to seek validation from institutions or gurus, convincing you that truth must be handed to you, not discovered within. Then we encounter Mars, the symbol of wrath and division. This archon clothes the soul in reactivity, aggression, and the us versus them mentality. It is the root of blind rage, the impulse toward conflict, and the brutal satisfaction of feeling righteous in your anger. This program thrives on chaos, ensuring we remain too busy fighting shadows to look for the exit. Beneath that lies the sphere of the sun. This is a tricky one. For the Gnostics, this wasn't true light, but the archon of false light, the ruler of the spiritual ego. This program creates grandiosity and the desire for recognition. It's the part of us that wears enlightenment like a badge, comparing its progress to others and mistaking intellectual knowledge for real transformation. Then comes Venus, the archon of attachment and possessive desire. This isn't true, expansive love. It is the seductive voice of lust, glamour, and clinging. It binds the soul to the endless chase of sensation and the fear of loss. It's the reactive jealousy that masquerades as love, convincing us that our wholeness can only be found in someone or something else. Deeper still, we meet Mercury, the trickster, the archon of limiting logic. This is the program of the hyper-analytical mind. It's the inner cynic that dissects every mystery until the magic is gone and demands empirical proof for the sacred. This archon traps the soul in a fragmented prison of intellectual analysis, unable to perceive the wholeness that lies beyond binary thinking. Finally, we have the sphere of the moon, the realm of illusion and subconscious noise. This archon governs the chaotic world of fleeting emotions and distorted images, obscuring the clear light of our divine essence. Wrapped in these symbolic layers of spiritual malware, the soul becomes profoundly forgetful of its true origin. The friction you feel is the chafing of your inner divinity against these artificial garments. Now, here's where this ancient wisdom becomes profoundly practical. The Gnostics weren't just describing demons in the sky. They were using the cosmos as a mirror for the human psyche. The archons are not literal entities you can punch. They are a 2,000-year-old map of the unintegrated parts of your own consciousness. They are inside you. The great 20th century psychologist Carl Jung approached this same phenomenon from a different angle. He identified what he called autonomous complexes, splintered off parts of our psyche, often born from trauma or conflict. These complexes behave like independent personalities within our own minds. They have their own agendas, and when we're triggered, they can hijack our entire personality. Ever had an outburst of anger that felt totally alien to you? Or been gripped by a fear that came from nowhere? Jung would say you were possessed by an autonomous complex. The parallel is incredible. The Gnostic archons are a perfect mythological representation of Jung's complexes. The rage of the Mars Archon is an anger complex. The despair of the Saturn Archon is a depressive complex. The possessive clinging of the Venus Archon is a lust or attachment complex. And the Demiurge, the blind creator, is the ego itself, puffed up with its own importance, blissfully unaware of the powerful forces operating in the unconscious right below it. This is the source of the friction. These archonic complexes create a constant drain on your energy. They rule from the shadows, generating compulsions and emotional loops that keep your soul playing small. They enforce the illusion that you are your anger, you are your fear, you are your thoughts. They become the governors of your fate because an unexamined psyche is doomed to repeat its patterns, mistaking its programming for destiny. If this is causing a spark of recognition, that profound click of seeing a hidden pattern for the first time, then know that this is only the beginning. The map is not the territory, but it's the first step to navigating it. To continue this exploration and go deeper into the practical work of liberation, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. We are building a community of seekers dedicated to this path of self-knowledge, this Gnosis. And if this resonates, please share this video. Because understanding the design of the prison is the first step to remembering you were never meant to be a prisoner at all. So, if the Archons are inner programs, how do we uninstall them? This is the most critical shift in perspective. You do not fight the Archons. Going to war with them is giving them exactly what they want. It reinforces their reality and strengthens the very ego they feed on. It's like trying to fight your own shadow. The more you struggle, the more defined it becomes. The solution is not war. The solution is Gnosis, direct, intimate self-knowledge. The solution is radical self-awareness. An archonic program cannot stand to be seen. Light is the ultimate disinfectant. The Gnostic path is an alchemical process of turning the lead of these limitations into the gold of integrated consciousness. First, name the inner voices. This is the practice of disidentification. When a wave of despair washes over you, instead of thinking, "I am depressed," you create space and observe, I see the Saturn program running. When a flash of rage hijacks you, instead of becoming it, you state internally, "I am observing the Mars complex, this is not me." This simple act of naming creates a gap between the observer, your true self, and the program. In that gap, the Archon loses its power. Second, practice strategic silence. In our hyper-distracted world, silence isn't empty. It's a training ground. The Archons thrive on noise. By deliberately creating periods of silence through meditation, a walk in nature, or just turning everything off, you build a laboratory for self-observation. In the stillness, the archonic voices will show up, begging for attention. Your job isn't to suppress them, but to simply watch them come and go without getting on the train. This is how you learn their patterns without becoming their puppet. Third, and most importantly, integrate, don't annihilate. This is the master key. These archonic energies aren't evil. They are divine energies that have become distorted. The goal isn't to destroy them, but to transmute them back into their pure form. The violent energy of the Mars complex, when integrated by consciousness, becomes courage and the power to protect boundaries. The clinging energy of the Venus complex becomes the capacity for authentic, unconditional love. The rigid fear of the Saturn complex is alchemized into disciplined wisdom and patience. You don't escape the prison by breaking out. You reclaim every part of the prison and realize it was your palace all along. For millennia, the story of the Archons has been misunderstood as a quaint tale of cosmic demons. But now you see the truth. It is one of the most sophisticated psychological and spiritual diagnostic tools ever devised. The Archons are not your enemies, they are ignorant gatekeepers. Their challenges aren't meant to destroy you, but to force you to remember who you truly are. Every time you observe a negative thought without identifying with it, every time you choose a conscious response over a knee-jerk reaction, you are withdrawing the energy that sustains their illusion. You are reclaiming a piece of your sovereign consciousness. By doing this work, you don't just break free from an invisible prison. You reclaim the very raw materials of your psyche. You take the distorted, chaotic energies of the Archons and consciously integrate them into a balanced, whole, and powerful self. You stop being a puppet of a fate written by unconscious programs, and you become the conscious architect of your own destiny. The friction you feel isn't a sign that you are broken. It's a sign that the divine spark within you is pushing against its cage, ready to be free. The question is no longer if you can get out, but when you will choose to remember the key has been in your own hand the entire time.